So I just finished Sabaa Tahir's A Torch Against the Night, which is the second book in the Ember in the Ash series. I have to say, I am conflicted about how I feel about the series so far. Like Saba is clearly extremely talented writer, and there's so much interweaving plots, and we now get the perspective of all three the main characters, so Elias, Helene, and Leia in this one. And there were times where I just thought the perspective switching between Elias and Leia was kind of repetitive. And there were just some scenes that was really long, and I feel like we're kind of halting the action and tension. And there's a lot of times where the characters like Marcus and the warden just seem almost incessantly cruel for being cruel's sake. Like, obviously, you have to illustrate that the antagonists in the story can do some damage. But it was just getting so bleak and morose that honestly, at times, I just kind of was pulled out of it because it just seemed so depressing. And of course, it's wartime. You know, there's so many more things at stake in this novel, and the empire is crumbling all around. And, you know, Leia and her mission to get her brother out of Kaf, and all that was happening with Elias and his condition throughout the trip, it just became really, really soul crushing to read at times, but it's also accurate. Like, you can't have a pretty and soft portrayal of war in any story, especially when you're dealing with the amount of elements you're dealing with this kind of high fantasy storyline. But it just felt so dark and bleak, but yet the writing is so intriguing as well, and there's so many questions that I still have. And I have to be honest, the twist that involved the Nightbringer and this one really made sense, and everything kind of lined up with the reveal, which has me really intrigued, and I'm really curious to see how that character will play out in the rest of the series, and in particular how his interactions will be with Leia. So I will say that I'm still intrigued by the series, and it's obviously really well written, but at times it can be a little bit of a chore to get through because there's so many moving parts, and sometimes it feels like some of the action kind of takes a back seat for exposition in certain POVs, which kind of just felt meandering. But overall, you know, Sabaa Tahir is just excellent what she does. And I'll be lying if I didn't say that I was interested in picking up the third novel. So I just went ahead and got it. And we'll see how I feel with that one. But that's essentially kind of my book review for the evening. And I'll see what else I will read in the week while I wait for the third book of this series to come in. Because I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I'm very conflicted, but I end up giving it, I think, 4 stars on Goodreads. It's a pretty solid read. I mean, look how look how thick it is. But yeah, great story, intriguing, extremely gory, and it probably is going to get even more violent with the next 2 novels. And there's so much to look forward to, but at the same time, you do get frustrated here and there, or at least I was finding that. But I don't mean to be hypercritical of it. That's just my honest feelings. Anyways, that's it for me. Peace.